Hello and welcome to Twin Talk. This is Angie and I am with my sister Joy on the phone. Hey Joy.
Hello.
All right, so guys, we've got another great book for you and I'm really excited about this one, Joy, because we're getting to do another book by Annita Paddock, a true crime story. Are you excited as I am?
Very excited. Always like to do local stuff.
Yeah, so this is a local author. We've done one of her books in the past. We did I'm going blank now.
Cold-blooded,
yeah.
Cold-blooded, yeah.
Cold-blooded, and she's written 3 books. I've read all 3 of them now, and they're all really good. And this one is definitely my favorite by far. And just for the record, it is kind of not storming yet, but there's a chance of thunderstorms tonight. It's kind of late. It's 10:20 at night, and Joy and I are doing this, and just a little spooky out. So I think it's a very good.
Yeah, it's definitely stormy and scary night, so perfect backdrop for the book.
Perfect. Yes, thank you. All right, here we go. It started in the guest bedroom. Gruesome stains marked the spot on the mattress where a woman was beaten over the head before being grabbed by her ankles and dragged to the ground. From there, a trail of gore leads through the hallway around a scattered pile of books and into the den. That's where the trail ends, terminating in a dark red pool beneath Ruie Ann Park's broken skull. It took at least 10 blows to end a 75-year-old woman's life and to begin one of the most twisted murder mysteries the state of Arkansas has ever seen. Oh, if that doesn't intrigue you or get your interest, I don't know what will. But anyway, just to start the podcast, Annita Paddock is, she's a librarian and kind of a historian, and so she likes to write about true crimes that happen in her town of Van Buren, Arkansas. And, we don't live too far from Van Buren. Joy and I are very, very familiar with the town of Van Buren.
Van Buren's a cool town. It has a lot of, has a historical main street with lots of really cool shops. And it had a train. I don't know if you still can. They had a train you could take. Did it go all the way up to Chester or somewhere?
Yeah, it's an excursion train, and you can either take it to Chester, and they also have excursions that go all the way up into northwest Arkansas, like the Fayetteville area.
And one of my favorite memories of Van Buren, they every year they have this festival called Old Timers Day. I don't know if you remember that. I don't know if they still do it. And they would have these bigger musical guests, and they had John Anderson there one year. And he was just at the train depot there, and, I mean, there were like thousands of people on Main Street, and I'll never forget, of course, swinging was popular at the time, and I remember him singing that. But when he sang Seminole Wind, which is my favorite song by John Anderson, I remember this big breeze blowing through there. And it was getting dark, and it felt really good, and that was just one of my favorite memories of being on the historical Main Street in Van Buren, Arkansas.
Well, that's funny that's your memory, because I totally remember seeing John Anderson down there in Van Buren, and they had all the streets blocked up. But here's my memory. I remember being packed in like sardines. It was so crowded, and I kept thinking, if there is any type of emergency situation, we're in trouble.
Wow. I do remember it being crowded.
Yeah. So if you go down Main Street in Van Buren, and it is, Joy's right, it's got the coolest old buildings. There's so many buildings that still exist to this day. I don't know how old they are, but it's worth just going to see the architecture. I've taken so many pictures of downtown Van Buren. It's not even real, but anyway, what's interesting,
antique stores and that cottage cafe has been there forever.
Yeah, it's just a really cool little town to go visit. It's near the Arkansas River, and then it's like you said, they still have the train depot there with the excursion train. And but when you go up Logtown Hill, which is just off of Main Street, that's kind of a famous little hill there. It's just everyone knows that is Logtown Hill, and it's kind of a steep hill, but toward the top of it is where this story takes place. So there was a very prominent family who lived there in the 80s, and they said it was kind of the show place of Van Buren, this home. And as far as I know, it's still there today. But it's a show place, and the people that lived there were, I guess they were fairly wealthy. But what I just read earlier about the lady that was bludgeoned to death that's where she lived. She lived at the top of Logtown Hill, and that's where the story takes place.
And supposedly from her yard, because it is that hill's pretty steep. But anyway, supposedly you could see the Arkansas River and see out over everything from up that house.
So for everyone that's listening, if you like true crime, oh my gosh, this book, it's got everything. And I don't know, this is what kept coming to my mind, Joy, after I finished the book. This would be the perfect John Grisham novel. But this has everything a Hollywood movie could want. I'm actually kind of surprised there's not been a movie made about this.
Well, unfortunately, there are like thousands of these type stories, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because I watch true crime every night, unfortunately. I don't know. But
yeah.
There are so many stories that can be made into movies. There's just too many to count.
That's true.
But you're right. It could be made into a movie.
So we have a 75-year-old woman who's bludgeoned to death in her home, and she is a pillar of the community. But here's an interesting fact. You know, a lot of times you hear these stories, and they're like, oh, they were the beloved matriarch or patriarch of the community or whatever. But in this case,
when they walked into the room, they lit up the room.
Yes.
They were so kind.
Yeah, but in this situation, this lady was not like. They said she did not have a nice personality. They said she was just kind of an old biddy. No one liked her.
She sounded like Cruella DeVille.
Yeah, she just wasn't liked within the community.
She just sounded like an angry, mean, bitter old woman.
Yes. And so, here's a little interesting fact. So the family, her and her husband, they owned a newspaper, and it was called the Press Argus. And they ran it for 50 years. So that's one reason they were so well known in the community. And then Ruie Ann, it's Ruieann. That's her name. So she just was one of these women that just wanted to be involved in everything. She was a local historian. She was a teacher. She was a journalist. And the book says that her husband was politically well connected. Well, at some point he dies because he's not in the book very much at all, so he must have died earlier on. But anyway, here's the little cool part of the story. So she has a son, and his name is Sammy. And according to her and everyone in the book that talks about him, he was just brilliant. He said it was very obvious.
His name was Sammy?
Yeah.
I thought it was John Hugh.
They call him Sam Hugh, I believe.
Oh, Sam Hugh. Okay.
Yeah. So, but Sammy.
It's been a while since I've listened to it.
Oh, I know. But
sorry, it's Sam Hugh. Yeah.
Yeah. Throughout the book, they talk about how she just thinks he's brilliant, and you think, well, was he? Because that's his mom talking. But yeah, even everyone within the community says he truly was almost a genius. It may be a genius, I don't know, and that he was brilliant. His mother, though, she openly adored him. She doted on him, and he did become a prosecutor or an attorney. I can't remember exactly, but he was some type of attorney.
He was a lawyer, and the book said he was the youngest man appointed as prosecuting attorney for the state of Arkansas at that point in time.
Yes, yeah, he really did. He did some significant things in his career. So here's another important factor that you need to know in the book is when he was 5 years old, they adopted a little girl who was 7, and her name was Linda. Well, here's the problem with that. The only reason that Ruie Ann adopted her was to look good, to look good in the eyes of the community. Like, oh, look at me. And that's the reason we know this is because they said when she first adopted her, she would dress her in, was always dressed in the cutest little dresses and had big bows in her hair. But they said she completely ignored her. The mother, Ruie Ann, would ignore Linda. She would dote on her son because he was so much smarter. And then Linda was shy. Okay, they said she was extremely shy. She wasn't as intelligent as Sam Hugh. I'll have to get in exactly what they called him in the book. I'm kind of on blank. But
they always called him Sam Hugh because I remember thinking, oh, that's such an Arkansas thing. I always put in the middle name.
Yes, yeah.
And this reminds me so much of Mommy Dearest and Joan Crawford because, because I was watching an interview with Joan Crawford's daughter, Christina, the other night. I mean, it's old.
We need to do that book. I read that book a long time ago.
Yeah, we should do Mommy Dearest. But I think Joan Crawford actually loved her, but I also think she had some mental problems. But yeah, I think she just, I mean, I truly think she wanted kids, but it also was a status thing. But this lady, I think it was just purely status.
Yeah, so here we have this biological son, Sam Hugh, who's brilliant and very talented in many, many ways, and the mother's like in love with him, and she adopts this little shy girl who's not as intelligent, and she's just, I guess she's just not living up to her expectations. So it kind of creates this toxic dynamic within the household. So from there, growing up together, and they act like the two got along. As far as I know, she and Sam Hugh got along. There wasn't any issues with them. It was basically with the way the mother treated them. So as they grow up, he's the brilliant lawyer, and but guess what? He's got some skeletons in his closet, and he likes to drink. And he kind of becomes an alcoholic, and next thing you know, his career is suffering because of it. And the other thing that he likes men. He is a homosexual. Everyone in the community knows it. And
his mother is not happy with that fact that he's gay. She's not happy with the fact that he, and he doesn't just have like one partner. He has like multiple young men coming in and out of his life, and I think she lectured him on that a lot.
So Sam Hugh, his house is kind of a free-for-all. He has men coming and going, and they're basically leeches because he. And
we need to mention this is important to mention this too, that he lost his job as prosecuting attorney due to his alcoholism and problems that caused on the job. So his mother had a rent house very near her own. So he was living in this rent house for free, and that's why she could see all the activity going on. This is why she could see all the young men coming and going, because he lived right next door to her.
Yeah, and it's kind of, it's funny, but it's not. But supposedly she was very religious and only listened to like TBN, like remember that religious Joy that
that network.
That network that only, they said she would only watch these old timey preachers and these like revivals and stuff going on. So she is very, very opposed to his lifestyle because like she doesn't agree with it, and he's over there and he's just got these young other men just coming and going, and like I said earlier, they're there because he's giving them a $20 here, or he's giving them some liquor, he's giving them drugs, all in return
a place
for
to
sexual
stay.
favors.
Yeah,
and it's in a roof over their head. So these are kind of like your drifter type guys that don't have jobs.
Which to me, that would make, to me, if I had to investigate this case, I'd be like, oh my gosh, all these men coming out of this house next to the mother. And, Sam Hugh could have put any one of them up to it to kill her so they could, get the inheritance and get into the behind.
Yeah.
And so I just wonder how many of those men and young guys that were coming and going that they interviewed.
So after the murder, immediately all their attention is on Sam Hugh because they're like, okay, he's a down and out alcoholic, and because it is a small town, I will say there is a little bit more prejudice than there probably would be had it been like a murder like in a larger city or something. So
and also he's the one that found the body.
Yeah,
so
he found the body.
That's always, that always, adds a layer to the investigation.
Yeah, and then throughout the investigation, according to the author, she doesn't know exactly what was said by the investigators and the police and detectives and all that. But, according to the book, they're like making these little slurs and, about these, it's probably some homo that did it. You know what I mean? Like they were making they were jumping to conclusions that it was probably either him or one of his boyfriends. The book's just fascinating. It was one of these books, like, it's a page turner. If you're, of course, I listened to it on Audible, and I think you did too.
I did, yeah.
And it's like for me, when I'm listening to her books, like I basically just listen to it straight. I listen to it every chance I get. They're that interesting to me. So,
and I think it might even be a little more interesting to us just because the name, like I recognize the name of the sheriff. I recognize the name of some of the people that were mentioned. And a matter of fact, they mentioned a lady that I know personally or have met personally in the book. So it's kind of cool when you hear of places you've been to and the people they're talking about you might know personally or at least know of them.
Yes. There was numerous names that were dropped in the book that to this day, I've heard of them, like Ron Fields, like a lot of the prosecuting attorneys.
Yeah, I remember Ron Fields.
Yeah. And Joy, I'm curious, did you know who it was before they revealed who did it?
No, I had no clue.
To me, there's a big twist at the end, and it took them several years to figure out who actually did it. And there's something I wish I could say, but I can't because it will.
Well, let's do this
spoiler.
Because I thought we were going to talk about the whole book, even the ending. If you're going to read the book, just stop listening now. And then come back and listen to this after you've read the book. Tell us what you think. If you don't care about the spoiler alert, you have no desire to read the book, then keep listening right now. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Because I was going to talk about who did it and why and some stuff like that.
Okay, sounds good. So we're going to talk about the true killer now. So it did take, like I said, it took years to finally expose who actually had, who actually killed Ruie Ann and who had the motive and all that. So you want to take it from here? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. So a lot of people suspected that it was John Hugh, and he ended up dying of complications from alcoholism. I don't know if you remember that. Okay.
Yes.
And then this is where, to me, it gets really interesting. The daughter is married to a lawyer as well. And I don't know, did they say that he was in law school at University of Arkansas with John Hugh, and that's how they met?
Yeah.
So,
so
he was in law
each other from U of A. And nobody liked her. And Linda, the adopted daughter, the guy she married, no one liked him really. And
so according to the book, he was really controlling.
Yeah, and some people thought he only married into her family because he thought they had money.
Yes, and she discovered, after several years, a love letter in his pocket of one of his, suit pants or something, but she didn't tell him, and she knew he was having an affair. But she has 4 kids and no income, although she used to be a teacher. She was a teacher for a little while, I think. No income, 4 kids. She's living in Cabot, which is, I think we said, was maybe 3 hours from Van Buren.
2 or 3 hours from Van Buren.
And really, she has no family. The mom was constantly berating her and basically telling her what a stupid idiot she is all the time, and how she's no good for anything. And so she really doesn't she has no support whatsoever. But according to the book, everyone that was around her liked her. She was friendly. She was giving. She was kind. She organized stuff at church. But anyway, her husband and her were going through a divorce. And he approaches the police and says, my estranged wife is the one that killed Ruie Ann Park. And they're like, well, we need evidence. This is just hearsay. So was he in a car with her? Or no, she visits him at the law office, because he asked her to come to the law office so they could work out some details of the divorce, right?
He said, neither one of us are really following the guidelines when it comes to visitation. Let's sit down and discuss this. When actually he was wearing a wire, and he wanted to get her to confess that she had killed Ruie Ann, her adopted mother. I said that right.
And he did. Yeah. So he did get it on. He did get it on the recording, and she admitted that it was. So he was out of town camping. It was like a Boy Scout camp with his. Was it 2 of his sons?
Yeah, I think so.
So he was out of town, and she had a baby, and she confessed that she drove all the way to Van Buren, and of course. She was let in the door, even though, according to the story, the mom was like, what are you doing here so late? And I was just about to get to bed, and scolded her for being there so late. And apparently she left the baby out in the car.
Yeah, she did. And I think what pushed Linda over the edge was her and her mom were arguing because, her mom was like, you just need to stay here tonight. But she was acting like, you're putting me out by having to make up this bed for you back here. And she just kept saying things to Linda that was just very cruel. I think she just finally snapped and was like,
Am I remembering correctly that she had written her out of the will as well?
I want to say she had left her like a rent house or something or something, but it wasn't. No, I don't think it was anything compared to what he got. Now I have to say this: the financial part of it, that all is fuzzy to me because in our research they did say that there was motive. The reason they thought that Sam Hugh did it was because it had something to do with his inheritance.
Well, he would get any money in the rent houses and her house and all that. But I don't know. I'll have to go back and find out. But I was thinking that she wrote the girl out the will. But apparently
there wasn't much there.
Yeah. Apparently when and this was my question, did she drive him with intent to kill? Was she intending on killing her when she drove down there that night? Because she didn't get there late.
No, she even said it when she was talking to her lawyers and, during her confession that she never, ever intended to kill her mother. She said, she don't even remember it. And that's why
the book is called Blind Rage, because apparently the mother snapped off something humiliating and degrading to her and she just lost it, picked up this gavel that was like a decorative, piece or something, and apparently just started hitting her mom over the head with it, just like the title says, in a blind rage. And she says, if you believe her, that she doesn't remember a lot of what happened then.
Yeah, and they even asked her, why did you drag her into the inn? And she said,
apparently she killed her in the bedroom and then dragged her into the living room, and she doesn't even know why she did that.
And she was in the guest bedroom when it happened. It's because she was in there acting like she was going to make up a bed for her and her baby. And then that's when they got, when she started saying some stuff that just made Linda snap. And, honestly, it wasn't just that. This was from years and years.
Yeah, this is a lifetime of
verbal abuse. Yeah. So
my question is, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that the thing that just blew my mind, I don't know if you recall this or not, but they were talking about how after they got her confession on tape, and they went and they picked her up at her house and kept it and put her in handcuffs and all that, and they said one of the original officers on the case or detectives, he said, I do remember we found these long black hairs clutched in Ruie Ann's hand. And I was like, how in the world?
Well, this was 1981.
I know, but my gosh, I thought, how stupid to be the whole time they're zeroing in on Sam Hugh. I'm sorry.
Or Sam Hugh. I'm sorry. I keep saying his name wrong.
That's okay. And the daughter has black hair. I'm like, how was it not just obvious it was her? And how do you
Well, she did live 3 hours away with, at that point, 2 or 3 kids and a husband. I could see how they would think, oh, no, she's got an alibi. She was home.
Yeah, but still, if it's black hairs, you still know it's someone with long black hair. I don't know. So,
well, my question was, and we have no way of knowing, but Linda's, was adopted, and who knows who her biological parents were, but did they have mental problems?
Yeah.
Did her mom or dad have mental problems? Why was she given up for adoption? That's what I want to know, is what kind of background she came from.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Really, and another thing that was very interesting, she got sentenced to 15 years, which they charged her for manslaughter because she confessed. She got sentenced to 15 years, which to me is shocking for outright cold-blooded murder. And then she only served 4. And people in the community went to bat for her. And didn't a lot of people sign a petition just vouching for what a great person she was?
Yeah, so the community actually rallied around her, and they even went so far as a bunch of people were going to go together and put a billboard on Interstate 40 that they knew Linda's husband would have to pass every time he went by. And I don't remember,
Oh, is that because he's the one that turned her in and snitched on her?
Yes. So it's not crazy. A woman kills her mother in cold blood, but the community hates her husband so much they're willing to put a billboard
and they hated her mom so much.
And they hated her mom so much that they're all pulling for her because everyone that knew her, they knew she was a kind, loving, caring person, and they knew that she had been putting up with this jerk of a husband for all these years and that her mother didn't love her, and so everyone felt sorry for her.
Can I go on a rabbit trail and talk about something real quick that pertains to this?
Sure.
Or is it similar? Okay. Well, this is fascinating to me because we're talking about a cold-blooded killer who the community rallied. Well, guess what? That happened in our little town.
Yeah.
We had a man who shot his wife, I guess, in the head. And,
while she was in bed.
While she was in bed in this small community where we're from. And everybody loved this guy. He was soft-spoken, worked at a factory forever. He called 911 and said, I just shot and killed my wife. Come arrest me. Do you remember all this? And this is why.
Yeah.
And apparently she had a lesbian lover, that's what I heard, and had threatened to take all his money when she left him. Like she was going to divorce him and take all of his money. Yeah. And he had worked at Whirlpool, this factory, for 30 years or something? We went to school with his kids.
He worked at Ruie.
Ruie.
You're right. Where I used to work. Yeah, because I would.
And what happened? Just like this Linda girl, the community rallied around him.
Yeah.
Do you remember people went to bat for him and said they literally thought she had driven him insane and to the point to shoot her?
Yeah, I think it was the same situation as his book. I think he snapped. Yeah, I do not think it was calculated. I don't think he planned it.
I think he said, "Hey, I'm leaving you, and I'm taking all your money," and he just snapped. That's just what I heard. And then same deal. He only served a few years and ended up going back to work and dying of cancer. Yeah, so they're very similar.
Yeah, now here's a really short rabbit trail. So one night I'm at home. This has been, I can't tell you how many years ago this was, and I hear these coon dogs outside, and then there's used to, it was not uncommon for men to go coon hunting around the area we live in. I haven't heard it in years.
Yeah, anyway, this guy was a coon hunter.
Yeah, so I get a knock at my door, and it's this guy you're talking about. It's his son, Greg. And he's like, hey, we've treed a coon next to your house. Do you just letting you know what's going on. Is it okay if we come up here and get the coon? And I'm like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And it was this guy's son, the one that you were talking about that's, went to jail, and now he's out. And he said, hey, my dad's out. He was real excited. And he was like, my dad's out of jail, and we're all hunting together. And I was like, oh, good. I didn't know what else to say. I'm like, oh, that's great. Yeah. And I said, that's good to know. And then it wasn't long after.
And that tells you something right there, that his own son was not against him or holding anything against him or had any bitterness. That tells you about that marital relationship right there.
That's a very good point. And then, anyway, it wasn't long after that. Yeah, you're right. I heard that he died of cancer.
But I just thought that was so interesting because he was a good guy, and he even helped coach one of our softball teams. I don't remember.
Yes, I remember very well because I remember he was
after everything I've heard, he was a hard worker. He was a good father. He just snapped.
Yeah, and I think even people, because I worked where he worked, and even the people that I would talk to, they all acknowledged, hey, he was a good guy. He just, unfortunately, he was pushed to the limit. So you're right. That's the same exact.
The moral of the story is, even if you're married to a good person, don't push them too far.
Right. You just don't know how much a person can take. That's right. If you were to just go drive across the country and go to, I guarantee you, there's probably very few towns in America that there's not a story similar.
Oh, I'm sure there's some type of notoriety. Every town probably has at least one story.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even just in the little town we live in, we've heard stories over the years. But, it's interesting. If this woman had not written these books about there's 3 different crimes that happened in the Crawford County, Van Buren area, I would never have known about them because we were, like this story, for instance, happened in 81. We were 11 years old. Well, not even 10 at the time. So
yeah, I mean that's a good point. I don't know that we would have ever known about him either.
No, so I'm actually happy she took the time. Another thing that's interesting, Joy, I don't know if you ever read or sometimes I'll read the back covers of these books, and she talks that the author Annita Paddock, she actually spends a lot of time with these families, interviewing them and sitting at their kitchen table, discussing details. And so it's very interesting to me that they were even open and willing to go back and revisit these really, troubling memories. Now, I'm not saying they're all close family members, but these are all people of the community and friends and some family that were willing to talk to her about this. And that's how she knows so much.
And I think it's easier for them to talk about it because Ruie Ann has died, and John. Yeah. If you say John Hugh, I'm sorry, Sam Hugh.
Sam Hugh. Mm-hmm.
He had already died, and Linda, I guess, probably by this point was already out of jail. So I think it's easier to talk and be, transparent when the people are gone.
And these are not people that are like super close. These were like acquaintances and stuff. Yeah. That we talked to them. So yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, I highly recommend this book, and I'm going blank. I'm trying to think of my rating word. What's the name of the book?
Blind Rage.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. How many? Let's see. What's a good rating word?
How many Sam Hughes?
Yeah, that's good. I like that. How many Sam Hughes do you give this book?
Okay, I give the book 4 Sam Hughes. I thought it was good.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to give it 4. I think this Annita Paddock has found her calling. I really do. She's a really good writer.
The only way that the book could have improved for me was I would like to have heard, did he go on to get married? Is he still a lawyer? I want to know the aftermath. What about Linda? Did he go on to marry the mistress?
Her dirtbag husband, yeah.
Yes. Did he go on to marry the mistress? Did he keep his law firm? Did Linda go on to get married after she got out of jail? What was jail like for her? That's kind of stuff. What happened to the house? Did it get sold? Who lives there now? I want to hear like the aftermath.
Okay, so for some reason, I'm thinking that I did read in the closing comments of that book, like maybe it wasn't part of the actual story, that she did go on to get married, because I remember in my mind, thinking, ooh, what would that be like to be married to someone that's murdered someone? Wouldn't you always be like kind of,
that would be
wouldn't
creepy.
You always be kind of like,
wouldn't you want to sleep with one eye open?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And maybe I'm confused with their story, but I'm almost positive they said she did remarry and that she did find happiness after all those years of, I'm almost positive she remarried. But I was thinking, I just don't know that I could marry someone that had killed someone. No.
Well, it's just a sad story. Just don't adopt kids if you're doing it for the wrong reason, obviously.
Yeah, especially if you're an old biddy. So, yeah. All right. Well, I really enjoyed this book. Sherry read it as well, our sister Sherry, and she had.
I didn't know she read it. We should have had her on the podcast with us.
Yeah, we should have. But I'm going to tell her to listen to this podcast. But she really enjoyed it. So she had the same. She had the same reaction I did to it, just as far as how interesting she thought it was. And it sounds.
Did she read the book or did she listen to it?
I'm pretty sure she listened to it. So, anyway, so for those of you who are interested who want to read this, you can actually buy it on Amazon, or if you want to listen to it on Audible, it's also on Apple Books. I think we've pretty much exhausted everything there is to say about this that we know of.
And if we do decide to drive up there and take some pictures, we'll post some pictures on our page.
Ooh, that's freaky. Yeah, definitely. Next time I'm in Van Buren and drive up Logtown Hill, I'm looking for that house. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're enjoying these episodes as much as we enjoy putting them out. And we will see you next time on Twin Talk.